Hey guys, how's it going? This is this morning, Saturday. We're gonna install an AC system. So my AC had a leak somewhere. So let me take you to the car before I show you the parts. Sorry, we got lawnmowers here this morning. So checked both high and the low. And those right here, they're not leaking, so the Schrader valves are fine. However, there's no pressure in my AC. So I saw that in the front connector on the condenser was some green fluid, which turns out to be the oil that Nissan uses, which you can see on this here sticker. Yeah, there you go. So there's two of them. There's a gray one and a green sticker. I think depending on which one you have, one chemical will be UV reactant, the other one will actually be green. Mine was green, so I was able to see it without any UV stuff. So yeah, so today we're going to be replacing the condenser, and according to a couple guys I spoke with, the compressor as well. So yeah, I went ahead and I got a new compressor. So here's the stuff that I'm going to use. I have a set of manifold gauges here. I have this vacuum pump I got from Amazon. I got a little bit of distilled water so I can refill the radiator in case, because I do have to drain the coolant. I also got this very technical drain pan from Walmart for the fluid. That way I can reuse it and it's all clean. The Z uses 1.21 ounces, pounds of refrigerant. I went ahead and I got just a regular refrigerant, no additives or anything. And I got 3 cans just in case. And I got, this is the equivalent, the PAG 46. Sorry, let me see if I can zoom. There you go, the PAG 46. Apparently this is really good. So this is the oil for the compressor. This came to be recommended by many guys in the Z groups, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this. So that's for the oil for the compressor. The compressor, I believe, uses 6 ounces. This is 8 ounces, and I have 3 pounds of refrigerant here. Here's the UAC compressor, which is really heavy. I'm not gonna take it out of the box with one hand. And I have the TYC condenser and dryer, because it's a one unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace all this. I also got the seals for the compressor and all the, well, I'm not going to use all these seals, but you get the point. It's just so I can replace the seals. And I have the tool to remove the lines. So basically this sandwiches in between the lines, and you pull and out comes the line. So yeah, as far as that's where it comes to tools. I did an oil change this morning. Thank you, AMSOIL. I'm not sponsored by them, but if they want to throw some stuff at me, awesome. So I will be showing you guys here. I fixed up this new laptop, well, new old. So I'll be showing you the factory service manual and the specs for the AC, like how much refrigerant, what the torque specs are, etc., etc. And let me just give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing initially. So if your car's hot, let it cool off. Remove this cover. We're going to drain the radiator system. If you have an intake, you have to remove it because the lines are down here. Let me show you. The lines are down there. Actually, they're down there. But you got to remove your intake so you can get to it. Let's see what else. Yeah, so drain your radiator. You're going to be pulling the radiator fans out most likely, because you got to push the radiator this way to get access to them. And then you're going to be pulling up the condenser once it's installed. I'll link you to the factory service manual, at least for my car, so you can see which ones, which like these, there's buttons in here you got to take out and stuff. So you're going to take those two out, pull this thing out, and then get to the condenser, which is right there. See it right there. Okay, so I'm gonna start working on it. And yeah, make sure, in case if you do have gas, I don't, I can press the straighter valve, and there's very little residual gas just built up from the air. Even if you don't have any air, you're still gonna have air, like oxygen in there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking stuff apart.
Sometimes when you're here, I can feel no doubt, 'cause you keep me where the stars are found. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't really matter.
Alright guys, so coolant is being drained. I got the radiator cap popped. Coolant. Anyway, so these two bolts here for this line, for the low pressure line. What is it? Yeah, the low pressure line and the high pressure line, which is this one. Well, this one gets connected to here, so don't worry about it. But this low pressure line is the top 12 millimeter, and then there's a bottom 12 millimeter, which goes up here, which is the high pressure line inlet. This is the return, I would assume, because they all both go the same route. Yeah, so there's one bolt on the compressor here, which is a 14 millimeter, and two on the bottom. So I just went ahead and I just loosened up all these three bolts. I'm going to loosen up the bottom one, and all you got to do is slip this belt out, which I'm going to show you. You have to get to that pulley that's right there. Right, let's see if I can show you right there. It's a pulley you got to get to. It's underneath. I believe it's a 12 millimeter. You just loosen it and slip the belt off on one side. You don't need to do all the other belts. And this thing zoom in. Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing now. Alright guys, whew. I wasn't able to film a lot. It's really hot and my phone keeps restarting because of the heat. But if you watch my other video on how to install the radiator, it's pretty much what I've done. I took the radiator out. You don't have to, but it's easier for me to access the cooler here. So I'm also running into a problem where my tensioner pulley, as you see, the bolt is completely and utterly stripped. So I might have to take this piece out and fix that bolt before I can take this compressor out. I'm going to try to do that now. I think it's 3 bolts. I think it's just that one and then those 2, and I should be able to pull that sucker guy out. So we'll see. It's just really hot right now, even with this tent over here. Sorry, every time I get a text my camera tards out. But yeah, it's basically what you gotta do. You just gotta, I moved the radiator because it's probably gonna be easier to sneak the compressor out of there now that there's more room. And then obviously you get access to these 2 guys over here. So that's what I gotta do. I took off the bottom hose, the top radiator hose. Oh, that also reminds me, this top hose, these clamps are complete fucking garbage. They one of them ripped and destroyed my upper radiator hose, so now I have to go buy a new one at the auto parts. So I'm just gonna go buy an upper and a lower, just to make sure they're both new. And yeah, we'll continue this, but I actually might stop today depending on how hot it is, because I'm really about to pass out. It's really fucking hot out here. Alright guys, let's keep at this. I'm gonna try to film as much as I can. Just don't hold it against me if I can't film absolutely everything. It's just my phone's absolutely taking a shit with this heat. Alright guys, let's keep going.
It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. Sometimes when you're here, I can't feel no doubt, 'cause you keep me where the stars are found. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, 'cause you're here with me now. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I feel so free now. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really
Alright guys, I think my camera may have tarted out, but either way, this thing is rebuilt. I don't have to buy a new one, it's just replace that little bolt, and we're golden. So that's it. We're just gonna I already put a little bit. I don't think I'm even gonna put a little bit of Loctite, because the manufacturer doesn't even call for it. Just tighten it, and then you'll be fine. So I'm gonna go put this back in the car. Alright guys, so I got most of the crap taken care of already. I'm gonna go ahead and take these things and unplug both of these connectors. So I believe the small one is a 3/8. The way it works is you put it around there, you pull, it like that. Unplug the condenser, the dryer sensor over here, so I don't fuck it up. There we go. Well, that's interesting. Oh, great. It's raining now, guys. Supposed to hear a click, which I just heard. And then there we go. So, moral of the story is you clip this, and because of the O-ring seal that's here, you gotta wiggle it back and forth. So that's why mine wasn't coming out though the first time out. Radiator fell down. I don't give a fuck. Let's move on with the other one. There we go. So this clip I gotta fix. But yeah, AC lines are out. So these tools worked actually really well. And now we take out the condenser and the dryer, which is at the end. And one important thing we gotta do is you gotta take out the sensor here, and this is gonna be installed on the new unit. All right, guys. All right, let's mosey on inside. Hi, my name is Tavares, and I'm here underneath my black Lamborghini. Sorry, wrong channel. Yeah, so we're underneath the car now. Here's the AC compressor. I already went ahead and loosened that bolt right there and that bolt right there, and that's pretty much it, guys. Take this out. I think you see those hinges, so those hinges right there, there's another one right there if you can see it, but those hinges, you have to basically tilt the AC compressor, I believe, upward and towards the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. So but now that you have the radiator out, if you did have the radiator out, you'll have more room. It'll be easier. I believe you can see the hinges right there on both sides. Alright guys, so I'm going to take these long ass bolts out, and we'll go from there. Guys, so when you buy the compressor, you're going to get a little paper. It says this compressor has oil. And a little sticker says this compressor contains 6.8 ounces of patch 46 oil. We're going to remove that oil and we're going to replace it with the good oil that we purchased. You can use that one. I am not. I'm going to use the recommended one that did not come with the container. So I'm going to drain that oil. The lubricant capacity is 6.3 ounces. Okay, fluid ounces 6.3. This is for my 05Z. Yours may depend. If you have a different model, make sure you look at your factory service manual and you find out what the amount is. Okay, this is the lubricant, so the oil, it tells you the type. This DHPS is equivalent to the 46, PAG 46. That's what the equivalent of this Nissan type oil is. So if you don't want to buy this, you can buy the 46 and you'll be fine. So your refrigerant, which I would advise you to just buy plain refrigerant. I wouldn't buy anything with sealers or any of that shit, because it's been known that they will actually clog your compressor. That's my opinion. Don't take my word for it, but whatever. I'm using straight oil and refrigerant, period, separate. This takes 1.21 pounds, okay, and we need ounces, okay. So I'm gonna use this tiny little weight scale to measure the amount that I'm going to put. So it's going to be a can And for those of us like myself, it's 1.21 lb to ounce LZ. Google is going to tell us that it's going to be 19.36. That's what you're going to put in. So if we have if two containers is 24 ounces, so we're gonna have 19.36 minus 12. We're gonna put 7.36 ounces of the second can. Okay, that's what you're gonna put from the second can. So 7.36. Hold on, let me clear this. 7.36. 12 minus 7.36 equals 4.62 is what this scale is going to tell you that it's going to weigh. So once you remove the 7 from the second can, you're going to have 4.64 left over. So that's the number you're looking for, ish, okay? I think I did my math right. Anyway, just double check it in case, and yours may vary depending on the amount. Alright guys? So the page that I'm looking at now is 152 of the ATC. So if you look at ATC, that's your air conditioning. It'll tell you pretty much everything, how hot it is, how much pressure you have to put it, etc., etc. Okay guys, let's install the new, I'm going to drain the oil, install it, and then I have to buy a new radiator hose, so I might do that tomorrow or today when my wife gets home. But let's reinstall basically as much as we can, and I'm gonna have to take breaks because the sun's out again and it's freaking hot. All right guys, let's continue with this mess. I ran into this compressor, said that it had 6.8 ounces of pad 46 oil in it. It did not. It basically had, I used a syringe to catch it. It basically had not even, it didn't even go all the way to that. So it had pretty much whatever volume's in here in that little part of the syringe. That was it. It was rotated. I also unscrewed this oil to take out. I rotated the clutch. That's what came out. So I'm going to install it with a little bit less oil. I'm going to put 6 ounces. By the way, I did make a mistake. The document here, I read it wrong. It said 6.8. It actually, 6.8 is for, I believe, European. I read it completely wrong. So the capacity here is US fluid ounces, which is 6, and imperial fluid ounces is 6.3. So I'm going to use the 6 over here. Alright guys? Alright, let me go and install this. So now is when you're going to go through all of your connectors. This is the low pressure side, and you're going to swap all the O-rings out with new O-rings, and you're going to use a little bit of Pack 46 oil to lube them up back into place. Make sure all the ends are clean, everything is clean, nice and clean. Make sure you do this. Alright guys. Alright guys, new one's back in. I also fixed the tensioner pulley here. I put in a new screw in the new bolt, a new nut in the middle. Sorry, it's still hot and my brain's kind of fried. So yeah, the inverse is just put the 2 bolts. These 2 guys, the top one and this one, need to be in the car, need to be in the compressor prior to you putting it in here, because the bolts are too long and you're gonna hit this and this piece up here. So just hold them in there, and then the bottom one can just go on the bottom, so that's fine. So yeah, that's it. I need to buy a new radiator hose for the top and bottom, so I'm gonna, god damn it, it's so fucking dark in here, sorry. So I'm gonna do that, and once my wife gets home, I'm gonna borrow her car, go to AutoZone, grab the hoses, come back, install them, and then turn this sucker on and see how it goes. These belts probably, no, they're still okay. I gotta think about replacing these again. So they're 4 years old already, so I probably should be about time to do it. So it's for another day though. So yeah guys, that's it. Just tighten it up. I'm gonna show you the specs, the torque specs for these bolts in the next video. So the compressor for the 05Z gets 45 foot-pounds on each one of these bolts. Okay, 45 foot-pounds. Alright guys, so installed the radiator and the condensers back there. When you are installing it, it's easier if you install the condenser before on the radiator. You tighten these bolts and then you basically slide everything in as a unit. If you move this water hose out of the way too, this also helps. So just remember to put it back, because that's a coolant line and you don't want to have a kink in your line. So while you got the top, the bottom here, it is important that you guys install, you see these two notches? Those two are the bottom of the radiator. So make sure those notches line in place correctly. Okay, and that's basically it for the radiator. The condenser's installed, the sensors, oh, don't forget to plug in the condenser sensor, which is right there. It's already plugged in. That's it on the condenser side. Now I'm gonna put in the fans first, and I'm gonna move these guys out of the way, that way I can get a little bit more clearance out of it, hopefully. And then yeah, well these lines are a bit, it's interesting, the lines are a bit too short, but I mean, that's what happens when you buy aftermarket stuff, right? Alright, so yeah, we're gonna install this and see how it goes. I'm gonna install the fan now. So I went ahead and I disconnected the fans. The coupler on the bottom is all disconnected, so now I'm gonna try to massage this in there without breaking too much stuff. Day 2 of this. I really apologize because the videos haven't been up to par really. So yesterday installed everything pretty much. If you guys have any questions on what I may have missed yesterday due to the heat and me almost passing out, just please leave it in the comments. I'll answer it. It's simple enough. So right now what I'm doing is I'm giving a system of an initial vacuum of 15 minutes. So I have both of these set on open and both of those set on open as well, so they can purge for 15 minutes. After I purge for 15 minutes, I'm going to close these two, and I'm going to wait about 20 minutes and see if these lines moved. So right now they're at 30 inches of mercury, if I'm not mistaken, which is I think the most you can vacuum. So after that, we'll just have to wait to see if it holds vacuum. If it holds vacuum, then that means we're good and we don't have a leak anywhere. I mean, really the only place that it could leak is either the vacuum, I mean the high pressure connector, which I tightened, and these two lines over here, which I don't feel anything, and like obviously in the compressor connectors, but I don't feel anything on there either. So I think we're gonna be good. Or if you have a leak anywhere else, right? I didn't have a leak initially. Well, I did, but it was in the condenser. So the lines seem to be okay. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. 15 minutes. Check for leaks. Make sure these stays exactly where it's supposed to be. Then you're gonna do it for at least an hour. Okay, you're gonna vacuum this for at least an hour to make sure everything is out. Alrighty. So I'm not gonna bore you with that mess. I installed the new radiator hoses. I did a top and bottom, and I also got new connectors for both. I'm gonna reinstall the cooling once I get all this out of the way, in case if I have to take something off again, then at least I'll know that like it's just relatively easy to get to. Outside of that, just please, if you have any questions on the install, just drop a line below. And I know that I might have skipped over some stuff just simply because yesterday my brain was fried at the end. I literally slept for 3 hours after this because I was just dead. So yeah, if I missed anything or you guys want any more specifics, please just hit me up in the comments. All right, guys, I'm gonna vacuum this for about an hour or two, and then hopefully that little thing won't overheat, and then we'll start. I'll show you how to add the gas back in. Car's still going. It's about, let's see, I have a timer here. My garbage. 21 minutes left for the last and final purge here. So I'm gonna go ahead, because once I start refilling it, I have to start adding. I have to turn on the car. I have to add the coolant lines. So to do this, I taped some electrical tape to the funnel that way it can secure. If you have one of those nice radiator flush funnels, use those. I don't, so I'm gonna have to do it the old school way. And then you can come back here, and right in here, let me see if I can, right there with a little flathead, you can open that valve right here, and that'll help out bleed out the system. So do that, and you'll get some residual water coming out, which is fine. Just use a flathead screwdriver, pop that guy out, and start refilling it. I'm going to install the intake. I have the filter drying out in the back. The heat, luckily it's hot, so it's going to dry quick. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and reinstall that, and then we can start her up once this is finished up. And we can see it's still going, so it's going good. I'm going to go ahead and turn her on and do the relearns and all that mess. And once that's done, then we can turn on the car and turn the AC on, and then start draining the system, or not draining, but adding coolant to the lines. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and refill this. All right, guys, so I added the remainder of what was in the little tub of coolant, but I'm using distilled water to fill in the rest of the gaps. And what I'm doing is so the whole system is basically full. All right, yeah, I even filled up the freaking cooler over here, so should be all right. I'm gonna let that drain back in there. I'm gonna evacuate some of that water. I put too much, which is fine. Just let it go, and it'll drain. That's what that little second hole is for. So I'm gonna connect the holes there and just drain some of that coolant out, and it should be good. Yeah, because I put so much that it went back into the tube, back into the reservoir. So that, that's normal. So just let it drain it, and so you know, this is very poisonous. So if you have animals, don't do this while they're around. Just make sure you clean everything after, and yeah, should be all right. So now I'm just gonna top this off with the cap over here, and then just drain that. All right, guys. So I have the bottle of refrigerant already set up. It hasn't been pierced yet. Gauge has been holding 30 units of mercury. Great. So it's a little chart for what I've found. So right now it's 91 Fahrenheit or 33 Celsius ish around. The coolant is 1.21 pounds or 19.36 ounces. Each can is 12 ounces, so if you trap the one whole can, you're left with 7.36 out of the second can. So if you're using a scale, which I'm using that little guy as accurate as I possibly can, you're going to be left over, once you start measuring the can, you're going to be left over with 4.64 ounces left in the can. However, when you're weighing it, you also got to take into account this valve here. This valve weighs 1.345 ounces. So you add those two, you're going to get what the can's going to be weighing once you've used up all the 7.63. Now for the coolant side, for this temperature range, which is about 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, since it's 33 Celsius, the high side has to be between 152.3 and 154.3 psi. Actually, it's supposed to be between these two numbers. So at the lowest end, it could be between 154 and 153. At the highest end, it could be between 194 and 195. On the low side, you're gonna have a mid between 29.7 and 34.8, and a mid between the high on 42 to 48.6. So I'm gonna go in between. So I'm gonna go basically 153 or 152.8 or whatever, and then I'm gonna put 194.8 psi on the high side. On the low side, I'm gonna go probably 32 and 45 or 46. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna purge to purge this line. You need to make sure that your gauge has a little purge valve here. You need to get a pair of gloves and do this away from you. Okay. You're gonna open up the can. The can's gonna fill up the line, and it's gonna stop here. Right now, you have these two closed. Okay. You're going to purge using a small screwdriver. You're gonna do this until you see. All right, guys. So it's been holding vacuum for about an hour and a half already. So everything looks good. I'm about to start adding the refrigerant. The temperature is about 33 degrees Celsius or 91 Fahrenheit. And the coolant that this 050 requires is 1.21 pounds. I've done the math here for how much it's gonna need, and that's the pressure rating that these gauges are going to be reading depending on the temperature on the high and low. So I'm going to show, this is all going to be in the diagram, and obviously each year might be different, so you're going to have to do your own math with each one of the factory service manuals to find out what exactly your car needs. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to start adding this refrigerant. I'm going to turn on the car, turn the AC to low on and basically just start filling it up. Basically, you just open this valve, make sure these two are closed, purge it through here until a little bit of gas comes out. Just wear goggles and wear gloves because it is cold, and then turn the car on. All right, guys. All right, I'm gonna start doing this. All right, guys. So we put in the first can right now. I'm gonna go inside. See what that's blowing. It's blowing cold air. I don't think the thermometer is reading it right, because it might be just really hot, but it is blowing a lot colder air. And since I had to remove my radiator, coolant's fine. So I'm gonna add the second part of the can now. All right, guys, so far so good. Guys, my phone's about to die, but looks like we're getting stable pressure, and inside we're doing really good. Water needs to be bled, but AC's pushing real cold, real nice. All right, guys, looks like this install's ready to go. Let's wait on the next one. Hopefully this one lasts. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Sorry, this has been kind of a pain in the ass, but it's been like the surface of the fucking sun out here. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. See you guys next time.